Hello and welcome back to the PlayStation Cove. I'm slowly working through the early release titles on the PlayStation 4, and you might have noticed I haven't really reviewed a newer game on the PlayStation 4 except Arkham Knight. But worry not, I took a dive on a few multi-platform pre-orders for the PlayStation 4, so I won't go entirely ignored this holiday. It's Final Fantasy VII in first person with guns. I'm kidding, but that seriously looks like a bluer Life streamer. You have no idea what I'm talking about? You will soon enough when that remake comes out. Alright, so Killzone Shadowfall was one of the PS4's launch titles, and amidst the hype of the PS4 was its power. There's no denying that this game was intended to demonstrate that power, but is this game more than just a tech demo to get your giblets moist? Your graphics giblets, you know, the ones that get excitable at 1080p and skin textures. At this point, if you don't know what a first-person shooter is, I'd wonder if you play any games at all. Not that you have to play first-person shooters yourself, but that there's always, and I mean always, a new one just around the corner. Aim down the sights and shoot at stuff, and you can always count on explosions. What Killzone Shadowfall attempts to do to keep this monotony down is add in a couple of sequences where you insert things, some freefall stuff, and some touchpad swiping to control your owl. They're a nice touch, but unfortunately are almost wholly uninspired. In fact, in some instances, I just get that feeling they were going for the Call of Duty thing, but instead of doing it better, it actually does it worse. Now, as a person who has played Killzone 2 and 3, I will note that I am accustomed to the heavy, less responsive feel of Killzone games. That exists here as well, so if you're coming from a modern Call of Duty, prepare to adjust. Moving into multiplayer, I kind of expected more people to still be playing, but when I did manage to get a decently sizable game going, it was also a bit of an uninspired experience. Having put hundreds, yes, of hours into Killzone 3, I applaud them for simplifying certain aspects of multiplayer, but I dare say it's not necessarily better. If you do manage to get enough games going with the few hundred people left playing, it's worth a romp, but may not quite hook you in, often feeling a bit dull despite all the action going on. All in all, everything works, but it just doesn't do anything inspiring with its gameplay. This one's an interesting spot. The campaign is a decent length, and multiplayer does have enough depth for diehards, so in just terms of a first-person shooting game, its content is what we can call normal. To top that off, there's some DLC, namely the addition of co-op missions, that could add to your playtime, but it's odd that these minor additions weren't simply included in the game in the first place. Instead, I'm neutral with this. Compared to other games of its genre, it's simply fine. Oh yeah, this game will definitely get your graphics giblets moist. I will say it now, the engine they're using really is perfect for sci-fi settings, and I can't wait to see what's done with it in Horizon Zero Dawn. However, it isn't without its hiccups. I locked the frame rate to 30, because without it, the frame rate really is all over the place. Add to that multiplayer using a composite rendering method to bring the frame rate up but still constantly dropping well below 60, and it's clear this engine was immediately pushing the limits of the hardware. But that's a good thing, because there are times you'll just look at it and think, if it wasn't for the little bit of aliasing, this practically looks like CG. It's a great tech demo, it really is, even with its frame rate problems. However, once you bring your eyegasms under control, we have a story that is serviceable, but once again is perfectly defined by the word uninspired. It attempts some twists and turns, but the delivery keeps it feeling less cinematic and more, oh good, that happened. Even some of its animations for those QuickTime sequences feel a little off, and nothing really delivers that oomph. But it does present to you one of the finest butts to ever grace a video game. I used the word uninspired several times in this review, and other than a fantastic graphics engine that will, no doubt, serve the PS4 throughout its lifetime, this game is, indeed, mediocre. One might think I have something against Sony, but that'd be wrong considering I poured hours into both Killzone 2 and even more into Killzone 3. Thus, I am coming from a perspective of reasonable expectation, and I walked away feeling like I simply checked off another first-person shooter from the list. I give Killzone Shadowfall a 7.5 out of 10. That's it for today. Follow me on Twitch, help me out on Patreon if you are able, and subscribe for more PlayStation 4 content greatness. I'll see you next time on the PlayStation Cove.